Hello and welcome to the Gags Tandon Show. Welcome to more misery. I'm joined by Tadiva today from Tad Predicts. How you doing, Tadiva?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you, Gags. As okay as a Liverpool fan can be at the moment.
No, we can't be okay, I think. If people were listening last night, Grizz is off to have his shit shower and shave right now. I've already had mine, but Liverpool are still shit. And we just saw a shower of shit. But today, really, Tad, the difference was finishing, wasn't it, more than anything? I think you could say Liverpool created enough today. Like normally you'd say it was drab, didn't create enough. Literally, it was the finishing today, wasn't it? Like, I mean, the pen for one, that's the game.
Yeah, I think we definitely created more than enough to go and win that game. I think it slowed down a little bit towards the middle of the first half, but in terms of the pace we started at, the chances we created, there was enough there for us to go and win that game.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm just tweeting the show as well.
No worries.
But I mean, let's talk about some positives before we get into the reaction that everyone's going to have. There's a few things that people are saying. Let's do that first, I guess. This is not Liverpool. Burnley at home, unbelievable. Hughes out, sign CBs in a CDM. Slot out by Monday. I don't think that's going to happen. Enough is enough. Time to sack slot now. So you can see, Mark Layton is completely numb to the situation, disillusioned. I'm not going to put the ones where they're going after slot by being rude. So you can have your say without being rude, guys. Sorry, Graham, we had some tech issues. We apologize, but normally we start on time. Just today, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Wasted chances. Here we go. Right, wasted chances. No proper forward. Gakpo too predictable. I mean, since your show's called A Tad Predictable, shall we talk about Gakpo's predictableness?
It's frustrating, Gags. For a guy who is, and I remember, I think one of the million group chats that you and I are in involving Liverpool, I mentioned in there how much of a coach favorite Gakpo is because he's so studious. And we've had players in the past. Maybe I can use an example of not a Liverpool player, but Sissoko at Spurs, for example, used to get way more minutes than he should have. And that's because the manager trusted him to not go off of script and implement the game plan that he was doing. So Gakpo, from my perspective, I've heard the same about him, that he does what the manager asks him to do, which makes me question the manager even more, because all Gakpo does is cut inside and shoot. And there has to be some sort of variation to your game. There has to be, like, everyone knows that's what he's going to do. Every time he shoots, there are about 500 people that are blocking the shot that he's taking. So it's quite frustrating to watch it week after week, and there's no sort of variation. And then also, from an aside thing, I don't know if you remember when we signed Gakpo, one of the sort of cool intangible things about him was that he had external coaches that would go through video analysis with him of each game that he played to try and improve his level of performance. I don't know if he still has those guys, those external guys, but again, that's two levels of people. You'd imagine clever football people, whether it's slot and then the external guys, that are saying nothing's wrong with him cutting inside and shooting every single time.
Or he's not listening.
But then he wouldn't be on the pitch. You'd imagine he wouldn't be on the pitch as often if he's not listening.
But you can be the favorite, right, of someone, and they can do no wrong in your eyes, Tad, sometimes. Like, you can just be the bundle of joy that someone, because he works very hard, which is the reason why Mo was dashed out, by the way. Doesn't work hard, but because Gakpo works hard, protects the fullback, gets to stay in the team, has an engine on him, gets up and down the pitch. Like, those are the positive parts of him. But the fact is, he's on the pitch to make a difference in the final third more than anything. Let's be honest. And he doesn't do that. Last season he did, but he had competition and he had a lot of players on form that were helping him. but he hasn't been able to make that impact this year. He just hasn't, none at all. Like you said, the predictability of it is insane. Like, I mean, we're bored of talking about it now. It's become predictable. What's going to happen? Gags is going to blame Gakpo. Like, I'm literally a tad predictable now. Like just every game, that's what I'm doing. I'm just dissing him because he, like you just said, he is awful, and he just doesn't do anything for the team at all on the left. When Mo's back, how do you play without Gakpo then? Does Wirtz go left, Mo go right, and that's how you solve it? Or what? Or has Wirtz convinced you that he can do that central role for us?
I think it's going to take Slot seeing what is working and trying to exploit that. And we've seen when Wirtz and Kerkez play together, they work together. So I have no issue with moving Wirtz to the left. We all know the glaring issue there is that means Gakpo probably doesn't have a spot in the team. I would be bringing Mo in centrally alongside Ekatike. I think we've got enough width with Frimpong to run that right-hand side. I think the energy of Szoboszlai somewhere on that right-hand side, whether it's a box midfield, he can help Frimpong on that right-hand side. But Frimpong, with the pace he has, can probably run that side on his own. And then you've got that triangle on the left-hand side with Kerkez, Wirtz, and Jones, which I think has worked quite well. That would be something I would be looking to do. Whether or not the manager's going to do it, I highly doubt it. One, because of the situation we find Mo Salah in with him and the relationship they currently have, or lack of relationship. And then the second thing is the inexplicable, amount of football that Cody Gakpo plays.
I mean, just a few things to come out with in this one. The first time, I think, maybe in a long time, or in history maybe, that Liverpool haven't beaten a promoted side at home in a season. That's disgraceful. 5 wins in 17 Premier League games now for Liverpool. 5 wins in 17 games. I mean, is that acceptable?
With that, Gags, the thing for me is, and we've seen people applauding and speaking highly of the fact that we're undefeated at the moment. For me, I've always said,
games.
First and foremost, yeah, I mean, another undefeated game, this one. So I've always said 2 things. One is that, and shout out to, from an NFL perspective, shout out to Mike Tomlin, the Steelers manager, who he basically went 19 seasons or something without a losing season. And he always said the standard is the standard, right? And at Liverpool, we've created the standard of winning trophies, collecting trophies, challenging for titles, right? Whether it's a Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, that's what we do. So from my perspective, that's the standard we should be looking to achieve every season. At least be in the conversation for titles, right? That's first and foremost. Secondly, you can pair that standard as the standard with something that a former manager said to me, and RIP to him, Gerrard Houllier. He said you should never accept anything in a win that you wouldn't accept in a defeat. So you look at the Liverpool games that we're playing at the moment. Yes, we're getting points, but would you have accepted that performance had we lost the game? I don't think many of the games that we've gone undefeated, this whole undefeated stretch, you could probably count on one hand the amount of games you would have accepted that performance if the result had been a loss. So for me, it seems like one of the most fake undefeated spells that anyone's ever had. And I mentioned that on my podcast purely because the performance levels aren't sustainable. And it's not something that I would have accepted if we would have lost the game.
I completely agree. I am numb myself, actually. I'm not even angry. Normally I'd get angry. But this team, it looks so tired second half. Tad, that's where we're losing games in the second half. Like, actually, first game was a decent half of football. Like you say, you take the whole game in and you say, is it acceptable? No. But the first half, it was quite a good, decent. I wouldn't say good. We didn't create like major big chances or anything like that, but we were having shots. We were forcing keeper to save. They were all long distance, I guess, but we penned them into that half. And we looked like we were trying to dominate, getting behind, like Kirkus was getting behind, Frimpong was getting in behind. Yeah, couldn't find the last pass many times. But then Burnley did have 11 men in the blooming box at times. They were literally camped in there. We had 2 shots off the line today. And like when you look at it, the chances were there. And that's unlucky sometimes. You know, the player in the right place. They just had so many people camped in there. I'm not trying to make excuses for Liverpool. I don't think it's good enough either. But today was, yeah, either bad luck, poor finishing, the bad penalty. It just seems like every game, though, doesn't it? Like we're just getting caught with an equalizer somewhere, or we give something away, or something happens. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say, Tad. I'm so lost in my thoughts with this one today. Just all I know is that the overall situation is unacceptable from us. That's the main thing I find, is that with this manager, maybe with FSG or whoever's leading this, like Hughes, let's just say Hughes, because people hate it when I say FSG, but Hughes and the slot Hughes situation just isn't working for me. Just isn't, and I think Tilsheen here as well. This is the key.
Yeah, that's a scary indictment.
Sorry,
I think no, that's okay. I think the problem as well is that the players seem to be playing or seem to know that the manager is on his last legs. And when you're playing in the Premier League, because yes, we're saying, okay, it's Burnley, they're not that good, but relatively speaking, Premier League teams, they're all got competent players. Everyone on their day that plays in the Premier League can go and score a goal, do something incredible, right? It's just whether or not you're consistent about it. That's what separates the good from the great and the elite. How often you can do the good things and the great things. Now, from a Liverpool perspective, I think the biggest indictment for Slot for me was the Dominic Szoboszlai goal that he conceded in the FA Cup. Because does that error happen if we're chasing a league title, if we're chasing trophies? That arrogance, that I'm going to try something crazy in my own box, it doesn't happen to teams that are chasing, titles. And I think we see it in these games where the level of concentration is not there for me. It's not at a level that these players know they need to get to win a league title. A lot of them know. They know what it takes. They know how hard it is. They know the effort levels they have to go to in order to be challenging for titles. And the fact that they're not reaching those levels shows me they don't believe that this team is going anywhere this season. Now, that then puts back the pressure on, as you've said, the Richard Hughes, the Michael Edwards. Does that mean, and I think I mentioned this back in October, because I've been out on Slot since October, when from my perspective, it looked like he didn't have the solutions to the questions that other teams were asking way too often. And the thing for me is, as a club, and we know the club is quite risk averse, as a club, have we decided that we think we're going to make top 4? Irrespective of how poor the results are, we're still on track to make top 4, right? And making top 4 is very different from challenging for a title. And because we're so used to challenging for a title, we've been quite fortunate in recent seasons. We don't lose a lot of games. We don't draw a lot of games. So we feel those results a lot more than teams that have been challenging for top 4 and making it consistently. These results happen when you're challenging for top 4, unfortunately, and you can still make it. More so in a season like this, where a lot of teams aren't stepping up to the plate at the moment. So as things stand, Liverpool are still fine to make top 4. And that's probably, if people go into games with that mindset, some of these draws and losses maybe will be easier to take. But again, I come back to the fact that the standard is the standard. And because of that, all of these poor results hurt, Gags. I try to be bigger than the results. They all hurt. They're all frustrating. We could see the Burnley goal coming, right? Liverpool, at a certain point, you're thinking, just kick it long, because we're inviting them into us with the short passes and the mistakes we're making. So these are rudimentary things that we're doing wrong that I wouldn't expect from a team that thinks they're going anywhere in a season.
And Up the Reds is saying Edwards and Hughes' ego won't allow them to sack Slot. Sacking means they fucked up. But really, he won the league, so have they really effed up? I don't think so. Things can go wrong post a successful period as well. Like, actually, his management reign will still be looked upon. I mean, it'll be looked upon about this bad season, but still delivered a Premier League title. And that's going to be a lot of our managers didn't do that. So at the end of the day, I don't think the ego will be there. They've actually been lauded last season for actually hiring him and them winning it and him winning it. So I'm not sure that's true. I don't think that ego part will come in. I think more I don't know why they're not doing it. They have now a manager ready, that maybe he wants a break. I don't know, but there's one ready now to come in. But is he their first choice? You'd think so. Knows the club, will be very passionate about the club, won't take time to settle in at all. Actually knows two players that are actually playing very well for us right now in Frimpong and Wirtz. Both of them had good games again today. I couldn't say they were to blame, for us not picking up the win. I think that's going to be down to Dom really today. And then also some shots were off. Like I said, you can't really say, Gakpo's the only one who I could really point a finger at and say, what the hell are you doing, today in that team, really? Maybe Ali could have saved the shot and Ali could have done better with his feet. Like every game now, we expect an Ali bad pass out. I don't know why he's doing it literally every game. But from my perspective, I think you're right. Hughes right now, surely he's walking on thin ice as well as Slot, because what the hell are they playing at? You mentioned, we know we've got to get reinforcements in. We know that. And I spoke to Grizz about it last night, and Grizz was like, it can't be because of Slot. It can't be that because they want to slack Slot, they won't bring players in, because the players are for the future. The players are for the next manager too. But maybe Slot's a hard person to deal with in terms of buying a player as well and choosing one, because he seems to not play some. If he doesn't like them, he won't play them. So
he is quite selective with the players that he chooses and when he chooses them and when he doesn't. I think the ironic thing you mentioned with regards to these are players for the future is, I understand the situation with Guehi once we didn't get him in the summer, we risked losing him because he enters the open market, right? I get that.
Yeah.
But the notion that, because remember, City, yes, went for him, but City weren't aggressively going for him until almost mid-Jan is when they accelerated things, right? If we had been doing what many expected us to be doing when the summer window closed, which was between now and January the 1st, make sure we've got him signed. Whatever fee we need to agree with Crystal Palace, we agree that. I think we're all beyond that point in time where we think clubs don't speak to agents and teams outside of the transfer windows. These conversations happens year long, right? So there was every chance for us to agree a fee with Crystal Palace between the summer and January 1st, have him locked up so that when Man City come and ask about him, it's already a closed conversation. Sorry, we've already agreed a fee with Liverpool and City move on, right? And
well, it's the wages had that was more than anything for this one.
But the wages only became a factor.
Yeah,
the wages only became a factor once a City or a Bayern get involved. If you don't allow them to enter the conversation, if you seal it before they enter, the wages don't become a factor. And the notion of, well, he's only got 6 months left on his contract. If, as you were saying, these players are signed for 5-6 years, it doesn't matter if he's got 6 months left on his contract. Truthfully speaking, you pay a fee if you feel that the player is going to improve your squad for the next 5-6 years. Yes, from a PR perspective, it might look like, oh my God, Liverpool have paid 30 million for a guy with 6 months left. But it doesn't matter if he's improving your squad. So I don't buy that whole, he only had 6 months left, we can only spend X amount on him. If he is someone that we're targeting and we want to go get, you go get him. And if you don't go get him, that's okay. That's a decision you can make, but you've now put a lot more pressure on this team and the squad to make top four, because that's the goal for this season, right? Make top four. I don't think we're winning anything this season. I don't think we're winning an FA Cup. I don't think we're winning a Champions League because we're too inconsistent at the moment. The odds are highly unlikely that we do. If we go and do it, fantastic. I'll say I was wrong, and I'll happily accept that. I'm happy to say I'm wrong whenever it means Liverpool winning a title or a trophy, as a Liverpool fan, right? But if our goals are top four, clearly, based on the activity that we've done so far, or lack of activity, we've said that what we've got is enough to get us top four or top five, which is likely going to be what the English Premier League is going to get five places. I don't agree with it, but that's what they're saying, Gags. I don't see an argument that doesn't say that.
And that's hubris of the highest order, and they would deservedly get the payback for being so overconfident if it doesn't happen. Like, it would be deserved. And then who suffers? The fans. Like, this is the problem, right? The only people that really suffer the most are the players and the fans out of everything. You know, if they're not going to back him, at least get some people in ready for the next manager. Then at least get a squad ready. You know how much work we're going to have to do if, like Grizz was saying last night, if Konate leaves, how many centre backs do we need? Because Gomez is leaving 100%. I mean, he's a non-factor anyway. Let's be honest. And Verge is in his last year of his contract. Then at that point, we need 3 or 4 centre backs. Do you see us ever signing 4 centre backs in a summer? Shouldn't we be signing 1 or 2 now and getting them in ready, and then having maybe those become backup because we get better ones in the summer? I don't understand it, Tad. I'm flummoxed at the business we're doing. Like, we were trying to beat Charlie Big Bollocks in the summer with Isaac and all this stuff, but completely negated and ignored one major area. Grizz thinks Konate is going to sign a new contract. I don't know where he's getting that from. I just can't see it.
I mean, at this point, you might as well give the money you're going to give to get to Gueye and add that to the Konate contract. But yeah, it seems like Konate has got promises elsewhere. The ironic thing, though, is Konate is the perception is that he's leaving the Premier League, right? This January window, we've not heard, or I've personally not heard, a sniff about him in negotiations with teams outside the Premier League, because he's allowed to. Yeah. As of January 1st, he's allowed to be speaking and negotiating and entering into pre-contracts and stuff like that. I've not heard anything about that yet, which I find quite weird. Yeah, so maybe there's a chance for Liverpool to still get him to sign. I personally think he wants to stay at Liverpool, but he wants a more of a leadership role, and he's waiting for that. I don't know if the money comes with the role, right? But I think he wants to be the next Virgil van Dijk in terms of his role in the squad. Maybe not, Van Dijk is a unicorn in terms of quality, but in terms of role in the squad, Konate is saying, if I sign this next 4 or 5 year contract, I'm taking over from Virgil van Dijk. I'm the leader of the back line. I'm, the head honcho, so to speak. I don't think Liverpool see him like that. No. I think the replacement for Van Dijk is going to be the leader of the line. And that's where I think the friction between Liverpool and Konate's camp is yes, I'll be a starting player, but what is my role within the squad? And sometimes those things mean more to certain players, and I think it means more to him than just starting every game. Because he is doing that already. He's starting.
Yeah. Mark thinks we need 3 centre backs, 2 right backs, and a left back in the summer. And Bishy's saying, I wouldn't mind if we had starter back lined up, but it appears he has a pre-contract agreement with Real Madrid. What the hell? Konate is doing a Trent and will not sign, and has been doing for the month. So, I mean,
do you not think because of the amount of business we have to do, you extend Robertson for another year? It's not the most ideal situation, but you've mentioned there's no way we're signing all the players we need to sign in the summer. So we're gonna leave ourselves short again next season. I don't see how we don't extend Robertson by another year. It's not ideal, but as a backup, I think Kirkes is coming into his own. Robertson mentoring the players, coming in for odd games. I think that partnership is still okay. Yeah. And then we go and fix other things.
I do think Kirkers is coming into it now. There's some really interesting stuff here from Slot on the boos. In my head, it wasn't booing, but it was frustration. We are Liverpool. We play Burnley, who we have to give credit to. But if we are disappointed by this, then something is wrong. What? What? So there's boo. So there was booing at full time. In my head, it wasn't booing, but frustration. We are Liverpool and we play Burnley, who we have to give credit to. But if we are disappointed by this, then something is wrong.
Disappointed by the credit that we're giving Burnley?
Or disappointed by the booing?
By the booing. I think
he's not making much sense, bro, to be honest.
No, I tweeted this the other day. Companies have PR teams, and we have to remember Liverpool is a company, right? Yes, it's a football club, but it's also a company that has a PR team. At what point does a PR team sit down with Arne Slot and say, sometimes it's better not to say anything at all? Because some of the things he's saying is way more damage. People are already angry at you. People already want you out. All he's doing is adding fuel to the fire. I don't understand how Liverpool are still allowing him to go out there and say some of the things that he's saying.
It's insane. It really is insane. I mean, can I give you a real good stat? What do you think in this 17 games, Roy Hodgson? So Roy Hodgson, as Liverpool manager, played about 17 to 20 games, right? He averaged 1.25 points a game. Roy Hodgson did as Liverpool manager. So in these 17 games, what do you think Arne Slot? There's 5 wins in 17 games. What do you think Arne Slot's average points per game is?
1.5?
1.24.
Oh,
so he's now in the last 17 Premier League games, he is 0.01 less than Hodgson.
That's not good.
That's damning.
That is not good.
That's damning. So Hodgson 1.25 and Slot in the last 17 1.24. I mean, I know we don't want to be Chelsea. I know people keep saying, don't be Chelsea, don't sack managers when they're in the first. But I've been saying this since October, like you. Well, I've said it since the Forest game. I've said it since the Forest game. I don't think they want to play for him. They only seem to be G'd up for games when there's their own personal pride at stake against the players on the pitch. But if it's Burnley, don't mind, don't care. We know we're better than these. But we want this guy out, you know?
And the thing is, Gags,
the Champions League, we actually do well in it because of pride.
But with sack and also with the Champions League, teams are more willing to come at us, which is where we play a lot better. But the thing for me when it comes to sacking managers and why October for me was the cutting point is I'm willing to give any manager a long leash of life as long as they're showing me improvements or showing me an idea of how they're trying to fix things. Because sometimes the idea takes longer to implement than but you can at least see this is what we're working towards. I pride myself in surrounding myself with people that are a lot smarter than me when it comes to football and that have been in the game from a professional perspective, whether it's players or managers and stuff. And I always ask them the questions. I'm still yet to find anyone, and maybe you can help me out. Maybe you can be the savior. I'm still yet to find anyone that can tell me what exactly is Slot trying to do from a sustainable perspective to improve Liverpool going forward. Well, and the fact that I can't find that's why I'm saying he has to go. At least show me something. Give me something that I can hang on to and say, okay, this is what we're trying to do, and this is how we're going to get there. There's been nothing of that, and it's been months now, Gags. It's not like it's been weeks. He's had more than enough time to find a plan and work towards that plan. He changes formation, then the next week he doesn't use that formation. He builds little triangles and patterns of play. The next week that gets abandoned. There's no sustainability.
There's a plan. I'm going to surprise you. There's a plan.
Yeah.
There's a plan from Arne Slot, and it's to cure insomnia. That's the plan. That's the only plan there is to cure insomnia, because we are, dude, like you say, jokes apart, you're right. There's nobody that can say there's a plan. There can nobody say that there's an identity. I keep asking for that since even since the start of the season. What's the identity? Last minute winners isn't an identity. Last 10 minutes scoring goals isn't an identity. We kind of just pushed on, and then look, we started conceding last minute goals in the end, and that started to become an identity. What is our identity? Giving up in second halves. I mean, the biggest problem is we look undercooked as a squad. What have you done? Last season we looked so fit, right all the way up to Feb, March, we look really fit, and now it was November and we look cooked, completely cooked. What have you changed? Why have you changed it? Why have you changed something that is, working last season? I don't know. It's a weird one. It's an absolutely weird one.
In a slight defense of Arne Slot, even though I'm not a fan of his at the moment, we've seen, and I'm using the skeleton of this Liverpool team because obviously players come in and out, right? We've seen this Liverpool team in seasons when they know they're not good enough to challenge for a title play like this. We've seen the Van Dijks lose concentration. We've seen the Salah seems to be quite consistent throughout, right? But we've seen players not perform to their apex level when we're not near, winning a league title. That season when we had the likes of Nat Phillips and stuff playing to get us into top four, that was a struggle, Gags, going through that season. And that's under Klopp, who obviously is even more idolized. The more this Slot reign goes and it goes poorly, the more Klopp looks good. I mean, we see that with Sir Alex Ferguson now. He's almost a demigod now with the way Man United have gone, right? But is there a thing to elite players knowing they're not going to be challenging for titles and dropping their level of performance in a league where you can't do that? You can't coast in the Premier League. You have to be on it every single season. And
but we are.
It looks like we're coasting, and these are the results of it. And I don't know if it's Slot's not being able to, he's not able to motivate them. I think personally, if Slot stays in and these results continue to go the way they're going, we're going to end up in about like 6th or 7th place in the league. There's going to be 8 games left in the league, and then you're going to see the likes of Van Dijk and stuff be like, oh crap, I'm not going to be playing Champions League next season. And then they're going to carry us to Champions League, and we're going to make Champions League by the end of the season. And I think the club feels that way. I think they feel like, okay, when we are in danger of not making Champions League, the elite players are going to carry us to it. It's a risky game, but I think that's the gamble at the moment. I don't know what else we're doing.
So we didn't get the full quote from, I think it was Ash. Here it is. In my head, it wasn't booing, but it was frustration. We are Liverpool and we play Burnley, who we have to give credit to. But if we are disappointed by this, then something is wrong. I am the same, and the players have the same frustration as the fans. Then he goes on to say, we have become a more cautious team in conceding goals, which has made it harder for us to create chances. By the way,
not
today,
by design.
2.96 xG to 0.4. So they created chances. But yeah, that point at the end, who's made us the cautious team? We've become a cautious team. You've made us the cautious.
That's on you. That's by design.
What is he doing? What is he saying? Does he not realize? Your PR point here. He's hanging himself here.
Is the club allowing him to hang himself? Because there's no reason why they shouldn't have stepped in by now. We saw when Slot came in, he was when Klopp came in, he was very hot on sleeve, right? Very, and I mentioned at the time, everything we love about Klopp is going to be everything we hate about him when things aren't going well, right? It's the same with Arne Slot. Because he's so honest, people how refreshing, a manager so honest at the moment. But all those things that we love about him being very honest are things that are going to kill him at the end, being too honest. And the club has to step in at this point in time, unless they're saying, well, let him go hang himself it's going to make it a lot easier for us to let him go, when he's continuing to say stuff like that. But again, it goes to also, don't talk about being frustrated. Show me you're frustrated by your performances, because I got upset with Curtis Jones's interview a couple of weeks back, where he was talking about, we're not stepping up to the levels and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, as a team, everyone knows, we all know Liverpool aren't playing to the level they should be. Surely there should be some sort of pride. And you mentioned the pride when they're playing the Real Madrids and stuff like that. But surely there should be a level of pride.
So much fight.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Arsenal game where we're down to our bare bones.
Yeah.
We look like a team that was willing to fight. But again, it goes to the whole thing of, if there's no trophy at the end of it, should I really be putting that much effort? And maybe that's an indictment on professional athletes, but I see it time and time again, Gags. When a team that is as good and talented as we are knows then there's no reward at the end of the season, the level of performance drops way more than it should.
What do you think of this from Steven Gerrard? Draws with the likes of Leeds and Burnley at home, and I know that's not acceptable. Now, he's doesn't normally come out and do an attack like Man United, like the recent Man United pundits who are always attacking each other. He doesn't normally do that. But do you think Gerrard's trying to get the Carrick job here?
Oh, yeah.
With Liverpool? Or do you think Gerrard's trying to get in on Alonso's backroom staff, come in as assistant or come in as, something in there? What do you think? That, because I think Gerrard desperately wants to be involved at Liverpool in the back, like not as manager. I don't think he knows he can't be manager. He's not good enough. But I feel like he wants to be involved somewhere.
I think Gerrard's ego won't allow him to be an assistant manager at Liverpool. I think he would want to be the manager, right? So I don't see him coming in and being an assistant manager. That's not the words he said, though, in the press. Sorry?
That's not what the words he said in the press. I would take any job to be there. Like
I don't. From my perspective, I don't see it. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think his ego would take being assistant.
I don't want.
And
I
also,
don't want, to be honest,
maybe also the fact that maybe my subconscious is not letting me believe it, because I think it would be a horrible decision to make Gerrard assistant. Because if anything goes wrong with the current manager, you know what the media is going to be. You know what the pundits are going to be saying. Well, they've got Gerrard in the building. Give him the caretaker job. Twitter's going to go off.
The fans are
too much pressure.
Name.
Yeah,
when he's on the bench,
it's too much pressure on the incumbent, right?
Yes.
It's equally why I don't want Gerrard as an interim manager, because if Gerrard comes in as an interim manager, gets us top 4 or top 5, whatever is required,
we're going to go mad as well.
How do you fire him? How do you let go of Gerrard and bring in another manager? Because again, the moment any blip in form, and every manager goes through downturns and upturns, right? So any blip in form, everyone's going to be like, well, we had Gerrard, he got us top 4. Why isn't? So I think that's a poison chalice to bring Gerrard in, because of how iconic a figure he is as a player. But I always say Gerrard the football player and Gerrard the manager are two very different people. Gerrard the football player is arguably one of the best players to ever play the game, right? Yeah. Gerrard the football manager is at best a championship manager. The problem is people try to marry the two. And then there's as a football club, we love to romanticize things. Gerrard as Liverpool manager, how romantic would that be? To me, it's a poison chalice.
It feels like Alonso's romanticized too, but the difference is Alonso's achieved something incredible in his managing career.
He's got a track record. He's got a CV. What is Gerrard's CV relative to, if Gerrard's name was Joe Bloggs, would Liverpool be looking at him as a potential Liverpool manager?
No.
If he had never met, you know what I mean? So that's why I think it's a non-starter for me. I do think him mentioning it, and I think he wants the caretaker job at Liverpool. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he think he can fix things at Liverpool? I think a couple of years ago, I think it could have worked, in the sense of, you look at the managers in the Premier League at the moment. You've got guys like Crystal Palace that have Glasner. You've got guys like Bournemouth that have Areola. Teams that would never have these really good managers have good managers. I think from a tactical perspective, Gerrard will get found out. The alternative is you bring in Gerrard as, you know, the manager, the face of the club, and you bring in a really, really good assistant manager, basically like a Pep Linders type of assistant manager that's going to do all the coaching, is going to do all the drills and everything. And then Gerrard is just like the man motivator. Maybe that could work if you want to do that. But Gerrard coming in and he's the one implementing the plans and stuff. Because you look at him in the past with Gerrard, look at his staff at Rangers. Most of those guys in his coaching staff got assistant manager / manager jobs because that was a very good, they were highly regarded coaches within the industry. So if you're going to bring Gerrard in, I'm not a fan of it, but if you are, the only way I can see it working is he's got to have the best backroom staff in the league. And then you get Gerrard to motivate players, and then he can do his Roy Keane thing of, oh, the vibes aren't good, where's the effort, all of that kind of stuff. Then maybe it could work.
What do you think of this one? Luis Enrique is the only option.
I think that's an interesting one. I like it. I don't know if he would come to England, personally.
Apparently, there's rumors that he would love to test himself in England now. But that's rumors. Yeah,
and he'd be coming in
everywhere, like, you know.
And he would be coming in post Pep, which could be attractive.
Yeah.
That could be attractive to come in after Pep's left the league. So I would definitely be on board with that. I'm buying into it more and more. Very astute manager is going to demand.
Pep's on a downward trajectory after today's result.
Yeah, but these Pep Klopp type managers, they give 100%, Gags. When they're exhausted, they're done. They're done. Like you, and it's why. So we hear people talking about Klopp should come back. Klopp was done, guys. Like he had given everything he could. That's why he left. These managers need time to recharge and regroup. And if they do want to come back, they can come back. But they need that time to get back and find that hunger and stuff. He had given everything he can. I think Pep's given everything he could. For me, in terms of who I wanted, and I mentioned it back in October, I want us to, I don't think we would get him, but I want us to at least try for Zinedine Zidane, personally. Because I know, it's right. And part of it is maybe me being a romantic because he's my favorite player of all time. But if you look at if you look at our squad, Gags, I don't think we necessarily need a tactical manager. We've got the talent, especially in these last years of the Van Dijks and the Salahs. We've got ready to win now squad. This is a team that should be collecting trophies over the next 2 seasons. And then we go into our, rebuild phase, and you hope that rebuild phase is not as long as possible. So when you're in that type of phase, you would be bringing in the ideal manager a couple of years ago would be a Mourinho. You bring in Mourinho, he wins a couple of trophies, and then, it all goes to pot and you recycle again. But Mourinho is no longer the Mourinho that he was. So who's the next type of manager that does that kind of thing? It's an Ancelotti. Do you really want to bring in him? He seems to also be on the tail end. The next version, from a younger perspective, of those type of managers that come in, you've got an elite squad already. They just need to give them a few instructions, let the players play, give them the confidence, let the players have that respect of, oh my God, this is Zinedine Zidane. Like the way Zidane, so Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo with his free kicks, we know how poor he is with his free kicks and all of that stuff. He was taking free kicks, insisting on taking free kicks at Real Madrid. Do you know how Zidane got him to change the technique for how he was taking free kicks?
Go on then.
Zidane challenged him to a free kick off in training. Challenged him to a free kick off in training, won the free kick off in training. Ronaldo was like, okay, fine, I'll change my technique. Ronaldo goes and scores his next free kick. That's I think the type of manager we need. A manager that the players are going to respect, and maybe Gerrard is that type of manager then. For me, I don't think it is, but maybe Gerrard is that type of manager who is just coming in to motivate the players, they have a level of respect for him. They're not going to, drop their levels of play because they respect the manager too much. And then you go from there. And in 2 years' time, when the Salahs and the Van Dijks have gone, then you go through a rebuild. You obviously hope that your rebuild isn't too long.
You're getting some reactions in here.
Go on.
Cotton saying Zidane's gunning for the international job. I think that's been the rumor. Zidane is not coming to change rubbish. Zidane cannot barely speak. Let's bloody dream. We're both dreamers. Like Zidane there was someone who put it in here earlier. Dave PX. It was like, we've been dreaming of since the early 2000s of this man coming to Liverpool. It was like he was buying a house. It was so funny. But yeah, I just think at the end of the day, what we need is, I think we do need a bit of a tactician, but we need someone who's also respected. And I think Xabi Alonso, what Xabi has in extra is that he's already got well-wishers in his squad, as in he's got a Wirtz and he's got a Frimpong, and as soon as he comes in, they'll be like, dude, we went undefeated with this boy in that league, which hasn't been done. We went undefeated and we won a title, which that club hadn't done, for a long time, or maybe I don't know how long. Like Leverkusen hadn't won a league for ages, and to come from nowhere and do it, made stars like Wirtz, Frimpong, and they're all youngsters coming through the ranks. Yeah. We need to do that. This guy is not giving some players a chance. He was apologizing to Neone the other day. And then about Ramsey. Did you see his quote about Ramsey the other day as well?
Yeah, that was shocking.
I just feel like, Alonso seems to tick a lot of boxes for me. A lot of boxes.
But with Alonso, at what point do you bring him? Do you give him time to reset, go and look at some more coaches and visit training grounds and evolve from his Bayer Leverkusen a little bit, or do you want to bring him in now?
I would say you're already having a bad season. If it's a new manager, it always feels like, hey, you're gonna get a shit start anyway because you're taking over from this flipping shit show that was before you. So you kind of get 6 months to just bed in, do stuff. If you can qualify for the Champions League, great. If you can get further into the Champions League and make a story, great. If you can win an FA Cup, absolutely fantastic in your first 6 months. But if you get him in on Monday, you've got 2 weeks of a window to actually do something with him. Do you need a winger? You think you need a winger in the squad? Yeah, I do. You need a centre-back? I think I do. Do something. It's you still haven't lost. Do something with this team. Do something with this manager. Get him out. Thank you very much, by the way, Slot, for last season. Amazing. Never going to dish you in that way. But this is unacceptable. There's some shouts for Nagelsmann and blimmin' Ancelotti. You're crazy if you want a manager after a World Cup. It's already bad enough that we couldn't prepare a bloody preseason with a manager in, this season. Obviously, we had the Jota stuff, so there's a little bit of a, you can say that disrupted everything for the players and the manager, but it's not an excuse. And after a World Cup, they're going to be knackered at the World Cup. They're going to come in end of July. We start training in July, the start of July, end of June. The manager's got to be in 1st of June if it's a new one. That's why I'm saying get one in now. Give them the 5 months to settle in. And give them a chance to go talk to Hughes and Edwards about what the team needs for next season. Where can it improve? The best way to know is in real competition, Tad. He'll have 5 months to say, this is where I feel like we've got holes. Okay, you need another striker. Isaac's already here. That's fine. Next season we'll be good in the striker position. I got 2. What I need is this left winger because Gakpo doesn't listen to me. Does that make sense? It's like he can just go and have that say. And I honestly don't. I see more benefits of him coming in now than coming in the summer, just because he gets to bed in with the team and understand what he actually needs from the squad in the summer. Coming in cold in the summer, it's hard. Look at what Slot did. Slot didn't bring anyone in that summer because he had to say, oh, you know what? I need to give everybody a chance first. The fuck, just waste the whole summer. Because that's what Liverpool are like. Get them in, let them have a look at the players. Perfect timing. All right, bring him in 2nd of Feb when it closes. If you don't want to spend anything on anyone, I'll still take it because he gets the chance to just have a look at them and then say, yeah, I need X, Y, Z. And it just makes the summer better for him. And then it's up for him to go, So I don't know, mate, but that's my thoughts anyway on this. I think it's time. It's been time since November. I've been harping on about it. People think I'm being negative. The matter of fact is 5 wins in 17 Premier League games, 4 draws in a row in the Premier League. I mean,
it's not even the results, Gags. It's the performance, because there's nothing that we're doing that. Okay, even if you're the most optimistic Slot fan, there's nothing that we're doing right now that is showing that next season something's going to change. If you say, okay, it's been a bad season, we got it wrong, etc., but there's nothing that you can point to that's going to say next season we're going to be challenging for the title. So that's the problem. That's the underlying thing, which is why, unfortunately, whether and when you talk on these type of things, it has nothing to do with Slot the man. It's Slot the manager, right? He's no one can ever take away that league title that he won, and we'll always love him for that. But again, this is Liverpool Football Club. The standards are we're challenging for titles. Whether you win it or not, sometimes things don't go your way. At least you should be challenging or in that conversation, or at least showing that you're going to be doing that in the following seasons. He's not ticking any of those boxes at the moment. The Zidane one, as I said, it's a pipe dream of mine. I love the guy, fair play. The Alonso one, it's what? Alonso and Cesc Fabregas, those type of managers coming in. I think I'm on board with those. With Alonso, I'm always wary of managers coming in straight after having been fired from a job, and from the political situation that he had to deal with Real Madrid. I do think he needs some time to figure out what went wrong, what he would change in that situation, because he did stick with his principles initially at Real Madrid, Gags, and it split the camp in terms of people that supported him, people that didn't. And then he went back on his principles, and that split the group that did support him to say, we did support you, and now you're going back on your word. They were traveling on, they were giving extra days off. They were traveling on days they were not meant to be traveling to away games so that players could have more time to relax at home and stuff like that. Things that he at the beginning said were absolutely not things he would do. So again, I think he needs time to defrag all of that and figure out who he is as a manager from that perspective, in terms of, am I sticking to my principles, or am I coming in and I'm adapting to what the situation is and then slowly bringing in my principles later on. But I get your point in terms of you bringing him in this season allows him to assess the squad, figure out a plan for next season, opposed to coming in in pre-season, and then that assessment and evaluation takes place. Then it gives him almost a free run for 5 months, and I think people would be more willing to allow him to not make top 4, top 5 than to allow Slot to not make top 4, top 5. So he would have that 5-month grace. I get it from that perspective.
18 points out of a possible 51. Mystical Buns says the only way him not coming now doesn't make sense is, 1, we are fielding all options in the summer. 2, he actually needs a mental break. Like you said, we are not confident Alonso brings top 4. I mean, are we confident Slot brings top 4? Because they'll at least get a bounce. The fans will get a bounce of Alonso coming in. The fans right now look completely out of it. It's just, yeah. It's interesting. So if we wait, what happens if United get? United won't get Alonso. I don't think Alonso will go to that shit show. I think they're going to get
No, I think
Glasner.
he's too
Let's be
smart for
honest.
that.
Glasner's been waiting for that job for a while, and I think he's already announced that he's going to be going there now that Carrick's there for a bit. So, and like Up the Red says, the connection's going to be easily there already. There's going to be no doubt at all that he's going to get backed or not. It's actually going to be the romantic thing again, that a player's coming back to manage us, and how many.
But it's a romantic thing with credibility.
Yes, with credibility. Like there's not many managers who there's only been one manager who played for us, right? Just one. So I think so. Maybe did Fagan play for us? No, he was just in the coaching staff, right? So
yeah.
that's I think it will be only the second after Kenny that actually played and managed at the club, which would be huge. So I'm all for it. I think Alonso has had a nice week off to relax. 1 week's enough, Alonso. Go see the fam, come back, get into Liverpool on Monday, mate. Get that suit out, put it on, come and join the Reds, because it's time for a change, and it's time right now. If I'm honest, this is enough's enough, Liverpool. Enough's enough. He was brilliant last season for us. We won a title, but 18 points in 50 out of 51 points is it's not Liverpool. Oh, actually, I forgot about Souness. Great shout. How did I forget? Now that one didn't go so well.
That's why you
and
forgot.
Paisley did as
you
well.
Wanted to forget. You wanted
I've lost,
to forget.
There's 3. That tells me everything I know. That's 3. So he'll be the 4th. But yeah, Souness was awful as a manager. Absolutely, I lived that. See how bad it was that I completely
Yeah.
Swapnil is just saying the same thing in the chat. So he kind of wants me to put this up. So fine, Swapnil. You've put this in about 20 times in the chat. So I'll give it you. Football is shite. Can't get the results. Can't get the best out of players. Doesn't develop young players. What he is good at. And what is the reason to keep him? Enough is enough. Sack him tonight. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, we know Kenny was the one that we mentioned as the one. Phil Thompson didn't really get the official job. Yeah, it's a great shout there, Dave. You're really good with your you're better than me with your memory. But yeah, that's another good shout. But he didn't officially have it, because I think here you go. We've got a whole list now. Roy Evans played as well, so there's quite a few. Hey, it put me to shame, RB. Thank you. I accept it. Nice one. Wow. That's a long list, so we can just add it to the list then. No problem.
A lot of successful ones in there as well, Gags.
Yeah, a lot
as
of
bad as the Souness one was, there were a lot of successful ones.
And Roy was pretty good in terms of style of play. It was fun to watch. Just couldn't get the right defenders in, could he? He just couldn't get the right defenders in. Like, he was ahead of his time with the 3-5-2 with the wing. He'd fit in nowadays, mate, Roy. I actually enjoyed Roy's football, and he brought in a lot of good players. He gave a lot of chances to youngsters, did Roy, that became fantastic players. Do you know what I mean? And that's one of the good things that Roy did, and I really enjoyed that. We didn't win stuff or too much, but it was exciting stuff to watch Liverpool back then. McManamans and Fowlers, and I think Owen came towards when he was with Julia, maybe. So it just, there was a lot going on at that time where youngsters were coming in. But I think we're gonna end it here. Sorry, Carton, I don't have time for the poll now. We're getting up to the hour, which we've gone long again, as usually we do on the Gags Tandon Show. But Tad, thank you so much, man, for reaching out to me and saying you wanted to come on. That's really appreciate it. It's made the hour fly by. We didn't even talk much about the game at all.
It's not a game worth talking about, Gags.
No, it wasn't worth talking about. It wasn't. But yeah, once again, thanks a lot for coming on and all your hard work that you do over on EPL as well.
Yeah, it's a pleasure coming on whenever you need me, and I'm available. I'm happy to jump on.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And we've got some great feedback here as well from folks about the show. So brilliant. Appreciate it. Netflix and chill mode indeed. I'm going to go and try and spend a yes, please hit likes on the way out. Please, good people. All of you, 3,500 that are watching over Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, please come and like or subscribe, and subscribe to Anfield Index, please. We'd appreciate your help. And we'll be here every game, no matter what, whether we win, lose, or draw. Does Tad have a channel? Tad, do you want to just share where you speak and what you do?
Yeah, so I don't have a channel, so to speak, from a YouTube perspective, but I am on the EPL Index side, the sister site of Anfield Index. I do the A Tad Predictable podcast, where we basically talk about the Premier League as a whole. We predict fixtures for the week ahead, and we discuss sort of the hot topics. So we do 2 podcasts a week. Last 3 weeks I've been ill/away. I was in Australia, so we didn't podcast then, but I'm back now podcasting. We do 2 podcasts a week, as I said, discussing things in the Premier League. Our last podcast we previewed this weekend. Again, so it's at A Tad Predictable. I also discussed what Man United and Chelsea fans can expect to see from their 2 new managers and the style of play and all of that stuff. So sometimes we nerd out a little bit with that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you do want to go check that out, definitely go check that out, and thank you.
But yeah, he's a Liverpool fan. So a Liverpool fan talking about the whole Premier League and Liverpool as well on there. And very knowledgeable is Tad, by the way. I will go to Tad when I want. I mean, we won't go too much into details why he's so knowledgeable, but he's very knowledgeable on a lot of very good things. So if there's someone to listen to, if you listen intently to what Tad says, there may be some snippets of things that you may want to know. So that's all I'll hint at. But yeah, make sure you.
I'll throw in some things every now and then that I feel I can throw in, Gags.
Yes, exactly. He might not be allowed to throw some things in, but yeah, what I would say is make sure you go and listen to Tad on the EPL Index podcast. It's our sister site. You'll find it on all good podcast players and sites, Apple, Spotify. You should be able to find it everywhere. So yeah, check it out. Make sure you listen to his show. That would be great. And Tad, once again, appreciate you joining me, and you're welcome back anytime. So just give me a shout, and we'll get this going, because I'll need to know when you're free. It's busy life.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all good.
All right then, guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and we'll be back next week. I don't even know when. I mean, Marseille, I won't be on that one, but I'll be back next weekend for the next one. Until then, up the Reds.